2 years ago, we got the Nexus 5, and that was a great phone. It was small, compact, wonderful, everything someone wanted in a phone. And then a year later, we got the Nexus 6, which was a bigger phone, and it had better specs, but for some people it was too big. Well, now we have two phones this year from Google. A Nexus 5X, which is the successor to Nexus 5, and a Nexus 6P. Today's review, we're going to be focusing on the smaller version. My name is Javon LeBlanc. This is Chill Tech, and this is our video review of the Nexus 5X. When most people are ready to purchase a smartphone, they're looking for a couple of things that really stand out above the rest. These are the top 5 things most people are looking for. And in my personal opinion, I believe it's camera, build quality, performance, battery life, and of course, sound audio quality. Let's go ahead and check it out. Google has finally redesigned the camera app that it desperately needed. It has a much better interface, easy to take photos and switch between photo mode and video mode. It's also easy to grab a hold of your front-facing camera, as well as change your visual settings from your camera between standard shots like 4x3 or 16x9, 4K or 1080p video. You also have an option up top to access slow motion, which is really nifty. The camera interface got a great upgrade, but that's only as good as the sensor on the back, and the sensor in the front and back are spectacular. So the Nexus 5 has a front-facing 5 megapixel camera that takes some extremely good selfie shots, wide angle, good detail, rich colors. Some of the best, out there. Probably not the best, but definitely up there with them. Now the back camera, on the other hand, is a 12.3. The back camera is a 12.3 megapixel camera that has a 1.55 micron size lens. We're talking about extremely good camera. The lens are wide enough to gather lots of light to take good photos, whether it's good lighting conditions or not. At nighttime, you can see here, the photos look crispy. Really good, holds on to the details, and as well as bring out some of the lights that are available to punch out the colors. In daylight photos are spectacular. It's great for macro lens shots. It's also really good to see the colors and detail between really far objects. And with the 12.3 megapixels, zooming in isn't so bad either. The Nexus 5X can take slow motion video at 720p at 120 frames per second. It looks really good. Now, the lack of optical image stabilization does make you need to have a little bit of a steadier hand, but the digital stabilization is good enough for close-up videos of slow motion. The Nexus 5X can also take 1080p video at 30 frames per second and 4K video at 30 frames per second. And the video looks really crispy, but just like I said before with the slow motion, make sure you have a steady hand because the lack of optical image stabilization does make it harder to keep the shot steady. So, the Nexus 5X has some great specs. It's definitely in line with some of the other flagship phones from this year. It has a Snapdragon 808 processor and a Adreno graphics card, 2 GB of RAM, and comes with configurations of 16 or 32 gigs storage. Now, the phone performance is super quick. Now, it does run Marshmallow, and if you want to know about Marshmallow, check out our Marshmallow 6.0 review. That'll be linked below in the description. So with this hardware package mixed in with stock Android on the Nexus device, it is extremely fast. We're talking about smooth animations, looks really good, getting in and out of apps. Multitasking is a breeze. Apps hold into their 2 gigabytes of storage easily, allowing you to switch back and forth without dropping any apps. The performance is exquisitely good on the Nexus 5X. It's definitely one of the fastest phones I've ever used this year. Now the build quality on the Nexus 6P is good for some and not so good for others. It does use a soft touch silicone plastic on the back with a normal plastic in the front, reminiscent of its older brother, or its long grandfather, I should say, the Nexus 5 from 2013. Now, it looks really good on the backside. I mean, it looks awesome. It comes in 3 colors. Comes in a ice blue, which is like a mint. It comes in a charcoal, which is a black, and it comes in a frost, which is a white. Each one looks really good, but my personal favorite has been this bluish minted color. It looks really good. And the cool thing about this Nexus build quality is that it's light. The first thing you notice when you pick the phone up from the box is, damn, this is a light phone. Like, seriously. It's like, I can't even compare it to any other phone that's as light as this. I don't know, maybe it's because of the plastic or because of the size. Now, one of the best things about this design is its form factor. The Nexus 5X has a 5.2-inch 1080p display. We're talking about a phone that fits in your hand. I kind of miss that feeling, being able to hold a phone and operate the whole thing one-handed. It's almost refreshing, and I kind of forgot how it feels like because all these big phones that are out in the market. I still prefer a big phone, but it was definitely a breath of fresh air holding the Nexus 5X in one hand and using it with a one-hand operation. It's really cool. Now, the cool thing about this display is that it's sharp. Even though it's only 1080p, being so small, it's compact enough to give you really good viewing angles. It has really accurate colors and it gets really bright. Now, compared to AMOLED displays from like the Nexus 6 from last year and Nexus 6P from this year, it doesn't punch as much as color, but you're not going to be disappointed in screen quality. No bleeding, really, really good display. Also going with design, the Nexus 5X supports a fingerprint scanner. It's extremely fast and accurate. First one to arrive on a Nexus device. You just pretty much tap your finger on the back of the phone and it unlocks. And let's go ahead to show you that it unlocks quickly. If you slide up here, as you see, I had to put in the code. From the lock screen, I can hit the fingerprint button and I can go right in, or if the phone's completely off. Like if I grab it from my pocket, put it on my index finger, and boom, it's already unlocked. Nexus fingerprint scanner is extremely fast. Now the battery life on the Nexus 5X is really good. It has a 2700 milliamp hour battery, and I was skeptical at first because the other phones that have smaller battery life don't really seem to last, but with Marshmallow's does mixed with the optimization of stock Android and a battery that's bigger than 2 years ago's Nexus 5, I was able to pull anywhere from 4 to 5 hours of screen on time on a full day's charge. Don't believe me? Take a look here, and here, and here, and everywhere. Like, the battery life is really consistent. I know some people said it wasn't consistent, but it is. And if you're a heavy user, expect around 3.5 hours or 4 hours of screen on time. And the heavy users, I'm talking about you gamers out there that game on their phone. But if you're someone that doesn't really game, social media, emails, text messaging, the occasional app like, fitness tracker apps, reading your news, things like that, even if you're on the phone all day, it will definitely last you more than 16 hours, which is the typical for the Nexus 6 last year that was on Lollipop. This year's phone on Marshmallow would last you a very, very long time. Battery life is by far the biggest surprise on the Nexus 5X. Excellent. So even though the Nexus 5X has 2 speaker holes up in the front, only one of them is dedicated for audio, and that's the bottom one here. Now, just because it's a bottom firing speaker and a single set of stereo, doesn't mean that it's a crappy speaker. In fact, it gets plenty loud and really, really clear, and it's better than anything that's bottom facing or backwards facing. Without a doubt, this speaker is much better than other people led on to believe, but it's not as good as a stereo speaker. Let's go ahead and test it out so you guys can get a look for yourself.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Javon LeBlanc from Chilltech, and today I'm going to do a special cinematic unboxing for you guys. Now, I'm not going to review this product because there's just no point.
Stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to. I look funny, but yo, I'm making money, see? So yo, world, I hope you're ready for me.
So, yeah. When it comes down to clarity, Nexus 5 got it. Because it lacks the stereo speakers, it doesn't give you that extra punch that you're looking for. But clarity is fine. Stereo sound is fine if you're using it for like stereo speakers for your phone calls and stuff. That's also fine. Speaker on the device isn't bad by any means. It could be better, but it's definitely better than anything that's downwards facing or backwards facing. So it's like pretty good. So audio quality on the Nexus 5X is pretty good. It's definitely better than the 5 previously, and just as good as some of the other flagship phones like from Samsung and the iPhone. Now compared to last year's Nexus 6 from Motorola, the audio quality isn't that great because I can definitely see the difference of driver quality between Motorola and LG. But overall, it's very, very passable from both ends. The caller thought that they heard us fine, and we heard the caller just as well also. So in conclusion, the Nexus 5X is a really good phone. It has an excellent camera, it has really good performance, it has a decent build quality depending on who you are, and the battery life is really, really good. And the sound audio quality is pretty good too, it's not bad. So overall, what I think about this phone, it's excellent. It's definitely a B+. The reason why I'm not gonna give it an A is because if they would have put the same attention to detail in build quality like they did for the 6P, and audio for the 6P, then we would talk about almost a completely different phone. But the similarities are so close compared to the 6P. It's just, wow. So the Nexus 5X is an excellent phone to pick up for the price. And one of the biggest selling points is definitely its form factor and the excellent camera and battery life. If you're someone that needs a small phone but don't want to sacrifice battery life, performance, and a good camera, definitely consider picking up the 5X. It's an excellent deal. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, like I said, comment section below. Follow us on our social media accounts. Check us out for live streaming on YouTube soon of our games. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, keep it chill. Peace.